Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shy, and this channel usually is where I yap, but today we're going to do something a little different. If you've been following my videos, I have been talking about how last year I stumbled upon my creative abilities. I was a girl who had worked 19 years in corporate, primarily led by analytical thinking skills because I was in the accounting finance space of corporate. And last year I was unemployed. So I got to spend a lot of time with myself to ruminate on my thoughts and what I desired for myself. And in doing that, stumbled upon the fact that I think everyone does have creativity, to be clear. But I had creativity that I wasn't aware of, had been deeply buried, or had been set aside, right, to prioritize surviving, getting through life, doing what needed to be done to feed and care for myself. And so I went on this journey, and some of it I made public on this channel. I recorded bits of what I was learning about myself. But I went on a journey to essentially fully flesh out that version of me. And I'm still on that journey. And part of that is also just my healing journey from having been a human who had to survive this earth like everyone else. You know, I've been hurt and I have had things done, right, that I have to repair from. However, what this video is going to show that one of the things I learned was critical to unlock my creativity is my routines. And specifically what I do first thing in the morning and what I do last thing at night. And this is going to show an example, because my days differ day to day, of what I do on the morning where I'm truly trying to coax out my creative side. And on this particular day, as you've seen with all the electronics in my bed, I had a very active night. I actually had a creative night. So my goal here is to slow things down in the morning and take care of myself and repair from an active night. So yeah, let's go calm myself down and feed myself and show you my routine. All right. As you can tell from the scowl on my face and the way I'm throwing things around, I'm not a morning person, and I'm clearly very tired this morning. But one of the things I learned about creativity, at least for me, is it needs food. You need to eat. You need to nourish the body, because the mind uses food when it's working. So this is one of those I just gotta put food in my body moments. That's basically, if you've ever had, I think it's Ezekiel bread. I like the raisin, I think it's cinnamon raisin English muffin. It's nothing exciting. I just heat it up. I'll slap some almond butter and banana on it. It's just, again, it's food for nourishment. The other thing I do, and I've mentioned in other videos, is I drink a lot of tea. I'm not a coffee drinker, so my caffeine mostly comes from tea. And also, I'm managing my sugars, because I mentioned in other videos, you know, one of my lifelong enemies due to my bloodline and genetic predispositions is diabetes. I don't have diabetes, but I don't want it. I'm always running away from it. And the older I get, the harder it is. So what I do to sweeten my tea, because I have a sweet tooth, is I tend to use protein shakes. In this case, I'm just managing what I have. I'm using Fairlife, but my preference is actually Core Power. But I didn't have any, so I'm using Fairlife, and that's what serves as my creamer in my tea. So I have a cup of tea, I have something simple for breakfast. That's typically how it goes. But more importantly, as I'm preparing the breakfast, the other things I have done to help with, again, coaxing creativity out of me is, I mentioned in other videos, I worked on my space. So some of what you're seeing in this video, for example, in my bedroom, you probably noticed I had a makeshift nightstand. This was recorded back in late November. I'm just now publishing because I told you, editing's hard, and I'm teaching myself how to do this, so I needed some time. But what I was working on during this season, and why my house might look a bit wonky, was I was shifting things around to give myself a lot of visual interest. I had, if you see the backsplash in my kitchen right there, that's wallpaper that I installed myself. It was the first time I ever wallpapered anything. But I spent weeks wallpapering several parts of my house. One, because I actually enjoyed it, it was soothing, but also because it's inexpensive, and like I've said, I'm unemployed, so I had to go the cheaper route. Ideally, I'd want to gut the kitchen and do a whole bunch of stuff, but wallpapering and putting that kind of texture and visual interest was sufficient for me to want to go in the kitchen and feed myself, which was a challenge, believe it or not, in the past, because my kitchen used to be like a dungeon, basically. Other things I did, which are minor, inexpensive things to do, because all this came from Amazon. I replaced the knobs with black knobs because, again, I didn't give you a 360 of my kitchen, but the wall I'm facing has a gallery wall that has black frames, so it kind of ties into the black knobs, the matte black knobs. I also did things like to the right of me, which you can't see again, but you will get a brief preview of it when I pan to show you me making the toast. I installed a flower wall. So basically the 360 of my kitchen, everywhere I look, there's something visually interesting and stimulating. And for me, again, I'm a visual creative. I need to see things that are interesting, that are stimulating. And for me, interesting means there's color, there's texture, there's interest, there's dimension to it. And then the last thing I did, because like I said, my kitchen used to be like a dungeon, so I used to avoid it and just Uber Eats all the time. I changed my light fixtures. I actually did it myself. I mean, I did one of them myself. And I have no electrical experience. Now, this is where I'll caution, don't do what I say, please, get the experts, pay for them. Sometimes I'm just determined to do something and I'm impatient when people take a while to get to me, which was the case in my scenario. So I installed the light fixture. But lighting is another big piece, because where I live is densely forested, so there are a lot of trees that surround my home, which is a beautiful thing. I am thankful for it because I get to see nature right up front. However, sometimes it covers my light, so my interior light, I have to be mindful of what that looks like. And again, lighting affects your state of mind, especially winter. We've all heard about SAD, so I had to address that by replacing my light. And it didn't have to be anything expensive. I got lighting from Lowe's that was like less than $100. Installed it myself, changed the light bulbs to the light that I like, and that worked. See, now that's the preview. See the flower wall? And that's grass cloth wallpaper I did in my dining area. Did it myself. Took me about 3-4 days. It was a lot, but I did it myself. And it really changed how I feel in my home. And like I said, this stage, I did this in November. I was still in transition and doing things, but the takeaway, because now I'm just rambling, is if you're in that stage of trying to figure out how to deprogram, because that's what some of this is. I had been using one type of ability, which was analog, straightforward, black and white, numerical thinking, right? And I was trying to coax out something that's a bit more abstract, colorful, different. I had to find cues to myself to subconsciously remind myself that that's the muscle I wanted to use. And that included what I looked at every day. So yeah, that's something I just wanted to share, is in addition to feeding yourself, make sure you have cues. And another cue here, I will have art all over my home because I like art. Before this even started, I was naturally drawn to art. So whenever I travel, I acquire art to just fill my home with color. And the one up there, I think I got that in Puerto Rico. Yeah, Puerto Rico. And other things that are visual cues, even the cup I'm drinking the tea out of. If you noticed in the previous shot in the kitchen, when I started making my tea, I went into my mug cabinet. I had a ton of mugs in there. But on this day, my creative side wanted a specific mug. And what I've learned is, like, if I don't give her what she wants, the day don't really go smoothly. So I just gave her what she want, which was this cat mug. And that satiated the need for that kind of stimulation. So it's things like that that coax it out of me. I hope it's helpful to someone and it helps. And then after eating, what I then do, this is where I have fun. I then sit at my coffee table and I play. And in this case, I have my Rihanna book open. I talked about it in a previous book, just to inspire me, because Rihanna, I want to go on a vacation. So clearly I'm looking at Rihanna in the pool, hoping that one day I too will be in a pool. But on this day, I actually felt inclined to color. So sometimes it's nothing deep. I'm not doing Picasso type work. It's just things to, again, because we adults don't get a lot of spaces where we can install play into our lives. I've learned, for me, creativity comes from me finding those spaces where I can do it, even if it's just a little bit, because you see I won't paint the whole thing. I just paint a couple things, and over days I might complete it. I give myself that opportunity to play, and it just gets my mind going. And sometimes doing this is what then prompts me to journal or to write or to record. Like, the ideas come from me just sitting on the ground and doing something like this. So again, I hope it helps, but enjoy. All right. That was my attempt at a vlog. Let me know what you think. But just wanted to touch on what you probably just watched. I have learned that having a slow morning, taking my time to make things visually interesting for myself and checking in with myself in various ways has really helped me this year. And I've really been wanting to share, like, if you've spoken to me this year, I've probably talked to you at some point about either what I'm doing in my place or what little habits I've picked up or things I'm doing to just manage my mindset and my personal space. And I just really feel passionate about sharing it, because like I said in my last video, every time you log on, it's just everybody's in crisis mode, right? And I think what we can do for each other is just share what works, what actually works, what we've been doing in our lives. And for me, it's been slowing down. It's been doing things with my hands. It's been paying attention to visual cues around me that I see every day, which for me are colors, patterns, textures. Those are the things that affect me a lot. So I thought I'd share what a kind of slow morning looks like. Let me know what you think. It wasn't a whole lot. And look, things could be improved on. That was my first try. Let's see if I stick with this. So if I go back to yapping, I don't know. But either way, I hope you're well. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. All right.